Fresh Start Worlds was a week and a half done by the time I got back from my trip. The Challenger's halo was rapidly escaping my grasp, and I had to make up time on the leaderboards fast. This is where Tom Baskin will join us. Together, we will climb our way to the top of the high scores with one goal in mind: obtain a Challenger's halo. And now, our story begins. The first thing I did was adjust my settings. Runescape has a ton of different customization options, which is great, but it's really overwhelming for a new player. I started by turning off some unnecessary world broadcasts such as demon flash mobs. Then I adjusted my interface, turned on slim headers, added some more action bars, and a bunch of other changes. While I went through my settings, I also finished the Birthorpe tutorial and unlocked daily challenges. The tutorial helped with basic starting levels, and daily challenges will be useful later on. Next, I traveled south through Taverley and took the boat to Daemonheim to get a Ring of Kinship. The Ring of Kinship is one of 4 starter skilling teleports that I suggest gathering. The others are the Wicked Hood, which will get you to Runespan to train runecrafting. I grabbed that in Birthorpe earlier. Then there's a Clan Vex, which takes you south of Falador, which is close to the Artisan's Workshop. And then the final item is the Archaeology Journal, which helps you get to all of the archaeology sites pretty quickly. After picking up my ring, I traveled to Runespan with my Wicked Hood to begin unlocking Law and Cosmic runes, which I need for teleports when I start dungeoneering. In Runespan, I harvest directly from the nodes more than the creatures because they give higher experience, so I just grab Essence instead and keep refreshing on the nodes whenever I can. Eventually, I got level 27, which unlocks Cosmic runes. I'll need level 54 for Law runes later, but for now, it was time to do Divination Cache. Cache is a good way to get div levels, but it takes a while at low levels. The easiest way to get points is knocking out the crest bots, but as you'll see here, it's hard with the world so packed, so there's a lot of competition. So I'd recommend using something called Dungeoneering Divination instead. Dungeoneering Divination gives about 300,000 experience per hour at level 50, and it scales much higher as you level up, capping around 2 mil XP per hour. It requires unlocking the Elder Sword engram at the Memorial to Guthix, which then quadruples divination experience when converting memories in Dungeoneering. So the first step is to get 100 memory strands from training regular divination. I do this while gathering 500 pale energy and 400 flickering energy because those are needed to charge the engrams. After you have the strands and energy, teleport to the Memorial of Guthix by right-clicking teleport on the strands in your currency pouch. Do the tutorial and then charge the first engram with pale energy, then teleport to Void Knight Outpost and pick up the Elder Sword engram from the barrel southeast on the island. Charge that one and then set it as your active one, and at that point you'll teleport to Dungeoneering. I suggest buying the 25% gathering experience increase boost from the shop, and then also you have a ring that you can upgrade to the gathering skill on, and I'd highly suggest doing that so you get additional memories when you harvest. Now that you're set up, whenever you're doing a dungeoneering floor and come across one of your 2 or 3 highest wisps, you should harvest it. If you group up with other people, you can all click the same wisp and extend the duration much longer, which will give you more consistent experience per hour. If you want to increase your XP even more, I suggest clicking the spring every 2 ticks. A good way to measure this is click every time you get an XP drop. Once you've harvested all the wisps, deposit them at base. Make sure the energy rift is toggled to convert energy and memories into experience. Also, be careful not to log out or else you'll lose all the memories you've gathered. If you've completed the medium dungeoneering task set, you can bind a strong gatherer's potion. Then, if you find a wisp that's above your level, you can use the potion to harvest and deposit it. That'll give you a really high experience rate for your level. For example, in this clip, I'm depositing Radiant Wisps even though I'm only level 84 Divination. I'll be training Dungeoneering Divination for a few reasons. One, I want to get level 80 in order to unlock Invention and get the Dungeoneering outfit. And two, I will be able to get portents in the floor. They let you bypass skill doors with up to like 20 more levels, so that'll help me open a lot of bonus paths and get more experience when I'm dungeoneering. Also, it's just helpful to have higher levels in general when you're dungeoneering because it makes it easier to open more rooms. There are a number of other skills that are very efficient to train in dungeoneering, including fishing and woodcutting. However, they don't give you quite as high experience as divination just because the resources run out faster than the wisps do. However, if you have the time, I definitely suggest gathering those too. Even cooking the products or fletching the logs, fire making with the logs, it's a great way to get free experience. Another method I'll be doing is something called dungeoneering crafting. For dungeoneering crafting, you collect coins from the first few rooms in a dungeon. The monsters there drop most of the wealth in the floor. Then at base, you can buy hides from the shopkeeper and craft them into bodies, which gives about 200 experience per body that you make with these increased experience rates. And then you can sell them back, buy more, and just repeat that process. The puzzles and doors can also give you a lot of great experience. For example, this puzzle right here is great to do for mining and construction levels. I'll actually be getting a lot of my starter levels through the different doors and puzzles at the beginning because the experience rates are just so high compared to regular in-game methods. And then once I'm higher level, I'll go out into the regular world and train those better methods from there. It can be helpful to get the first 10 levels or so in the regular world though, because then you'll get much higher experience at the doors as you encounter them. So I went to the circus and I got some agility levels early on. After that, I headed to Varrock and completed the archaeology tutorial. That gave me the Fawn of Life, which boosts my hit points, so it'll be a little bit harder to die in dungeoneering. That's important because when you die, you lose a lot of experience in a floor. Next, I walked a few steps north and took the boat to the land out of time.
The dragon told me the voyage would be treacherous.
This doesn't have any direct dungeoneering improvements, but the base camp takes a long time to unlock, so I'd like to get it started early in case it'll help me later on in the journey. Finally, it was time for me to start dungeoneering. I began solo, unlocking complexities and leveling divination along the way. I hit 54 divination and 68 dungeoneering and decided it was time to upgrade my combat stats. I grabbed a challenger's lance and prepared for the next stage of my journey. And that's where I'll join you next time, in the murky depths below Daemonheim.